All right, what's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from the International Racing Series preseason test here at Bahrain. This is a new league. It's a startup league. And I do actually see some familiar faces from HTARL, which is Hit the Apex Racing League. So some of these guys I'm a little familiar with. But that being said, we're in the middle of an 18-minute short qualifying session. We'll follow that with a 50% race here for the IRS preseason test, a new league, as I said. And I've got Eric Pettington joining me in the booth. He is an International Racing League F1 driver, and he finished runner-up last season in the F2 series. So good to have him with me. Good to have a driver's perspective on track.
Good evening, very honored to be here. Preseason test, very interesting always. We get to know what kind of level these drivers really have. So very exciting, and very exciting track. Bahrain, one of the best tracks to have a fight in, real life and in Formula 1.
So we'll run down the driver lineup and the time so far. As we missed this by a little bit. We're having some technical difficulties with the IRS YouTube channel, so this is coming to you from my channel, but rest assured, IRS, the International Racing Series, will be up and running by the time their season does kick off. And I can't promise that I'll be bringing you the action every week, but I'll try and do my best to do as many IRS races throughout the course of the season. But I am spread a little thin as it is. I do SRL, I do IRL, and I do HTA, so spread a little thin as it is. Maybe Eric can pick up the slack for me, but let's run down who we've got. So Can't Be Touched is out in front here in the qualifying session. He's going the fastest lap with a 1:27.493. PMP Try and Catch I am familiar with from the HTARL Assists League. NSX Phantom in the Alfa Romeo is going third quickest. Just as 12, I guess we'll just call him Just As, is fourth quickest so far. Cowie, who made his HTARL debut last week, is running in fifth so far. And then we've got ILRT Kilue, maybe just Kilua, maybe. He's sixth quickest. Flores is running in seventh. Then we've got another ILRT driver, Thiemann. Carbon Con looks like he's crashed out, ninth quickest so far. He's also an HTA driver. Then we've got Clay Funk, who's going 10th quickest so far. Timo is locked in at 11th, and what has happened to my game? What is going on here? Oh, something. Okay, I accidentally selected Timo to. Okay, spectate. Okay, accidentally viewed his profile. Gad, 13th quickest so far. That's another HTA driver. And then we've got JR Lattice. And then we've got Epic the Animal. Epic is an HTAR driver. He's a dark horse in the championship. I really like watching him drive. Then we've got a YNWA Matty, who's not set a time, along with Salmon Pike. He's the one that actually got me in here. And Gaoming is out on the track. So, now that we've run down the 19 cars for today's race, we've got less than 5 minutes left in the session. Moving into the 50% race, Eric, what is the optimum tire strategy? Obviously, rain is usually not a factor here at Bahrain. So, what would be the optimum tire strategy moving into the race?
Optimum tire strategy would be for mediums to hards. That's in Bahrain because softs are able to do only 7 to 8 laps. But if once again, safety car is going to come in the first 6-7 laps, you can pit, take the hard tires, and go to the end. But I would suggest mediums to hards.
It's interesting that you say that because it looks like a lot of drivers, especially the top 4 front runners, have all set their times on the soft tires. And if I'm correct, those are the tires that they would have to start on if that is in fact their fastest lap. Is that correct?
That is correct. The tire you're going to set a time on qualifying is the tire you have to start in a race.
So it looks like we've only got one driver who has tried setting a time on the hard tires, and that was IRLT Kilua, currently 7th quickest. So a lot of guys in the pits. And as we said, the International Racing Series, new league. I think it's up and coming. But already has a lot of drivers. It's got a a Discord. It's got a YouTube channel that will be up and running. I'm sure moving forward it might even have a website or a Twitter handle as well. I'll try and get more information as the season kicks off and we move forward with it. But right now, Cowie and Try and Catch, who I'm a little familiar with, both have bumped up into the second and third spots.
And we, of course, do not know anything about these drivers, but I will say this. If they're going to get to 126 times, that's already top 150, top 160 in the time trial. So if somebody gets 126.89, that's already top 150 in the time trial. So it would be very impressive.
And Can't Be Touched is only 0.6 of a second off of that. Your provisional pole sitter right now with the 127.493. 0.4 of a second quicker than Cowie, who's good enough for second so far. And it looks like Can't Be Touched is out on another set of soft tires.
Yeah. And other good news, I've said the stream on Twitter, and we have IRS guys retweeting it. So we have 7-8 viewers at the moment. So the viewers have found themselves to the IRS stream.
So I'm glad to hear that. I apologize to IRS for the technical difficulties, but by all means, like, subscribe, and comment to my YouTube channel if you want. You can at least hit us up in the live chat if you'd like. But be sure to look forward to the IRS YouTube channel. I'll try and get clarification on that moving forward. We did run into some technical difficulties trying to get me in with that. And it looks like Salmon Pike is retired from the session, so he didn't set a time. Looks like he'll be starting at the rear of the field for today's race. 2-minute warning as the time starts to wind down. Currently watching Can't Be Touched. In fact, we'll hop on board with him as he's on a flyer, see if he can improve his time.
Quick to say, these corners are painful. Corner 9 and 10, the hardest corners in the whole track.
It's very easy to lock up the left front heading into that corner, and you definitely want to get a good run coming out of there because you've got this straightaway, but do you run into a lot of, you lock up the front and then you break end the loose, or break loose the rear end? I mean, is that a common thing coming out of those corners?
That's a common thing because you change gears very quickly in that corner, and it's a downhill corner basically, so you have to adjust your brakes a little bit back down so the tires won't cool down. So it's very hard to, that's why, to lock the brakes.
So Can't Be Touched coming out of the last corner now, going to try and improve his time. 127.302, so he does pick up nearly 0.2 over his best time and puts a staple on this qualifying session. Oh, but look at this. Justice has gone 127.1, 0.2 quicker.
Medium tires.
Wow, so just as on the mediums, that is a quick car right there.
And quick driver also. Very quick car and driver.
So we'll try and pick up PMP Try and Catch. He's an HTA-RL driver that's hit the Apex Racing League. He participates in the Assists League. HTA does have a Elite League where they do not run any assists. So.
Oh, wait. ILRT Jimin. I'm sorry if I said it incorrectly. Yeah, sorry. Goes P2 with mediums.
So he gets 127.279 on the medium tires. So Can't Be Touched is now falling from first to third, and he was the fastest driver now on soft tires, but surprisingly the softs not the way to go.
Not the way to go on the driver level, of course, because mediums are 9/10 slower than softs in this track. As a driver who's driven 7 times in this track in league races, it's basically 1 second between mediums and softs, so 8/10, 7/10. So I think these drivers could have done top 50 of time trial. So
and time is up, so we see some of the times are now being locked in. Benny, many more, and we'll just call him Benny. Looks like he's locked in at a 128.627.
They have a Red Bull driver in P6.
That's Cowie. I just picked him up. Oh, and Nexus Phantom's gone 127 flat on medium tires.
Jesus. Very impressive lap times. Very impressive with mediums.
So when that drops, Can't Be Touched down to 4th. Cowie comes across, can't improve his position, so he's still 6th. Can't Be Touched dives into the pits. We'll pick up Clay Funk. Looks like he's diving into the pits as well. So it looks like Salmon Pike and Epic the Animal, both HTA drivers, also as IRS drivers as well, did not set times. So, but I look forward to watching Epic the Animal. He's one of my favorites in HTA. He's a real consistent driver. He's third in the championship point standings in that league currently, so he should be a lot of fun to watch. Salmon Pike joined HTA not that long ago. He's had a little bit of an impact so far.
Another Finnish driver, that's good to see. We have 2 Finnish drivers here today, even though he's running Dutch flag. I know he's Finnish driver, so very good to see some Finnish drivers in this league.
Epic saying that he lost basically 40 seconds from the time he left the pits to the time he hit the track. So here's your starting lineup. NSX Phantom is going to be starting in the pole position. Justice is going to be starting in second. Thiemann will be third. Can't Be Touched falls to fourth. Kahlua is going to be fifth. Cowie is sixth. Try and Catch seventh. Lattice is going to be eighth. Flores is ninth. Latesky is 10th. And then Gad, Clay Funk, Carbon Con, Benny, all 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. Gaming is going to be 15th. Maddie 16th. Timo 17th. And Epic the Animal and Salmon Pike did not set times. Be starting in the 18th and 19th position. And from what we've seen so far, any predictions heading into the race?
I think the worst win is going to be held by the first 3 drivers. They are 1 second quicker than the rest of the field. So the first 3 drivers are going to pull away from each other. Then I think the last drivers in P18 and P19 are going to take the hards and will take softs in the end. But the win is going to be between the first 3 drivers who qualified in P3 because the gap between mediums and softs is 1 second.
And Epic the Animal does say get ready for this comeback drive, so Epic is getting a little amped up. And it's actually not that uncommon for Epic the Animal. In qualifying session for HTA, he often saves his run for pretty much the last on track. He usually only sets 1 or 2 qualifying times. He doesn't go out early, put in a banker lap. He works on the setup throughout the course of the qualifying session, goes out with only a few minutes left, and that looks like what he tried to do today. But unfortunately, he says the game glitched and it cost him 40 seconds, so he wasn't able to get it back across the line to start a hot lap. So speaking of Epic, the Animal, and Salmon Pike, I mean, Salmon, as we said, there's a couple of HTA drivers in here, hit the apex. Salmon Pike finishing 5th at Austria a couple of rounds ago, finished 6th, round 8. I don't have my notes for yesterday's race. So it looks like we're going to do the formation lap. NSX Phantom starting in the pole position. We'll see if he can keep the car there. Justice is going to be starting in second, and Thiemann going to be starting in third. You said those are the top 3 drivers. Those are the ones to watch. Now, with the tire situation going on, Can't Be Touched starting in 4th is the first driver on the soft tires, and he's followed by Kahlua in 5th. See if he can work his way towards the podium. And then you've got Cowie and Try and Catch, both starting on the soft tires in 6th and 7th position. So definitely a mixture here between softs and mediums. Lattice is going to be starting in 8th. We'll see if he can work his way through the field. Flores is going to be in 9th. Latesky will be starting in 10th. And then you've got Gad. Gad is another HTA driver. See if he can work his way into the points. He's a good mid-pack driver in Hit the Apex Racing League. So see if he can work his way back into the points. Clay Funk will be starting in the Toro Rosso in the 12th spot. Carbon Con's a McLaren driver in HTA. He'll be rocking the Alfa Romeo today. See if he can work his way into the points. And many more will be starting in the 14th spot in the Mercedes. Gaming will be starting in 15th. We'll see if he can work his way into the points as well. Matty going to be starting deep in the field. 16th position for him. Timo in 17th. And then you've got Epic the Animal and Salmon Pike. 2 drivers going to be to watch. A lot of league experience between those 2 drivers. And see if they can work their way through the field. Both of them starting on the mediums. And what do you say about Matty here? He's the only driver starting on the hard tires.
I was actually going to say that too, that it's only driver, and that's the strategy I said. He's going to do 20 laps with hards, then he's going to, for the last 8 laps, he's going to take softs. He's going to be 2 seconds quicker than everybody else, and that's how he's going to make the position stick. If the safety car is going to come in lap 18, lap 19, then you have to watch for Matty. It's going to be his race. I respect that decision. That's guts. That's my strategy to do if you start outside top 15. That's absolutely my strategy.
So getting set for this preseason preseason test race. 29 laps here at Bahrain today. Should be interesting. I don't know anything about most of these drivers. I don't know a whole lot about the league, but non-points race. It gives you a feel of how, some of these guys aren't familiar with each other, what they're going to be racing against as the season goes on.
Exactly. In the first, it's gonna be like very hard. They don't know each other, but then they're gonna know each other and they know the strategies and stuff like that.
So wait on the 5 red lights to go out. Lights are out, time to run what you brung, and they're away in a puff of smoke, and it's a good start for Justice. And it looks like Phantom is going to lose out a little bit. Justice all the way to the inside as they head down into turn 1. Phantom tries to shut the door on him, and he's going to be able to hang on to that spot. There's a little bit of contact there between Can't Be Touched. It looks like he made a little bit of contact with Justice. Justice still trying to find a way to get around to the inside of Phantom, but Phantom hanging tough on the outside as they head into the next corner.
Yeah, exactly, and we have two cars going side by side with each other. We have and yellows in sector 1, and that's PMP trying to catch just lost his car.
Oh, and try and catch. Unfortunately, that is a sight all too familiar with me. He struggled a little bit this year in HTA. Trying to put in a good effort here in the preseason test here. We've got a couple of cars going side by side. This is Cowie moving up into 4th over Thiemann. And it looks like Clayfunk just got around Gad for the 9th position, so a lot of action here on the opening lap.
Yeah, exactly, a lot of action, and very clean start actually, only 1 or 2 casualties, so very surprised about the start.
And CarbonCon trying to go around the outside of Gad. And he looks like he's going to make that stick. Reese picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits. And Epic the Animal has now moved up into the 14th spot from 18th, so good on him. Salmon Pike is up to 16th. Meanwhile, it looks like the top 2 front runners have started to pull away. Phantom runs the fastest lap of the race, 1:33.703 to kick things off. They're 1.2 seconds out in front of Can't Be Touched.
And in the back, Hastrava is pitting. There's Flo is pitting for new tires and setting his front wing. And he's taking hearts and probably going to the end.
And Cowie trying to get to the outside of Can't Be Touched. Going to try a big crossover move. Can't Be Touched had to adjust his line and loses out on it. So Cowie moves up into the 3rd spot. And now Can't Be Touched is falling under threat from Thiemann.
Thiemann is losing a lot of time. It should be the battling between Phantom and Just Case, but Just As. But now he's stuck behind Can't Be Touched and Cowhide.
Oh, and now look at this to the inside. Thiemann gets to the inside of Can't Be Touched. He made a little bit of contact with Cowie. Might have cost him going through that corner.
Easy. He has the inside line. He's going to make it stick.
So Thiemann makes the move, and he moves up another spot. So Can't Be Touched is falling through the grid order after starting in the 4th spot. He was up as high as 3rd.
Yeah, look at the gap between P3 and P3, how much he's already lost to P2 and P1, and he's with the softer tires, and we only lap 2.
And it looks like that was Kahlua trying to get around Can't Be Touched. So Can't Be Touched under threat again from another driver. And Phantom just ran the fastest lap of the race, a 1:31.166. We've got a 3-car battle going on back here. Double slipstream. And this is Kahlua trying to get to the inside. Can't Be Touched. Oh, and look at the Mercedes. Laitsky showing his face in this.
Yeah, he's just waiting. He's just waiting for these drivers to make a mistake. It's like a chess game. You wait for your opponent to make a mistake, and then you capitalize on it.
Oh, and Laitsky's going to try and go around the outside. And now he's side by side with Kahlua.
Not in that corner. No. That's suicide. Suicide attack.
Oh, and he goes wide coming out of that corner. Laitsky almost lost the car.
Yeah. Nothing.
You look out the back of Kahlua's car. Laitsky catches up to him under braking big time. And now the DRS slot open for Can't Be Touched and Kahlua, but Kahlua's going to have a better run coming down in the next corner. He's on to the inside. Can't Be Touched trying to hang tough on the outside. That's going to give him the more preferred line heading into the sweeper right-hander. And you really want to get a good run coming out of here to put you onto that long backstretch.
You have to be, and now Can't Be Touched is going to be in big pressure against Kahlua and Lateski because they're going to get DRS wide open, and it might be that Can't Be Touched might lose 2 positions in this straight line.
Somehow he manages to hang on to the spot, and Phantom just runs another fastest lap. So Phantom has run fastest lap after fastest lap, and here comes Kahlua. We hop on board with him as he makes the pass down the front straightaway. And he's finally going to be able to lock that up and take that position away from Can't Be Touched. So Can't Be Touched loses out another spot. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Thiemann has caught the back end of Cowie for the battle for third. And deeper in the field, Try and Catch just gained a couple of positions over Benny and Maddie. So those two lose out to, well, but Try and Catch. A little bit of action going on back here. Oh, there's a shuffle between 4 or 5 cars for the 14th spot.
Oh my goodness me, there's a 5.
Five car
like
battle.
A barbecue party.
The
It's like a barbecue
up.
party between friends.
And that is Sam and Pike struggling to get out of this cluster of cars.
Oh, and that's a fun wing damage for Williams' car.
Oh, and the Mercedes is way off as he tries to give...
Yeah. By the way, Matty, T15 has lost his whole front wing. He has to pit. He has lost end plate, right side of his end plate.
So wing damage from Matty. There was a NASCAR-style bump and run on Benny that pushed Benny out of the way. Looks like Sam and Pike is in the mix, and he's got... doesn't look like he's got any wing damage, but hasn't been able to make headway trying to break through this cluster of cars. Meanwhile, Epic the Animal has worked his way into 12th, and he's closing in on the 11th place car of Gaming. And we've got a battle for third, and it looks like Cowie just lost out to Thiemann. So Thiemann picks up the third spot heading into turn 1. And Justice is all over the back of Phantom. So pretty exciting opening 5 laps of this race.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good things. P1 and P2 are strategizing with each other. I've seen them going zero EOS in a straight line. So they're basically doing what top drivers do. They're switching the slipstream with each other. They're pulling away and they let the drivers behind fight with each other. And then we have incredible fight between Simon and Benny. So it's like all around boxing fight.
So Sam and Pike not able to get away from this battle, and as you said, those two front runners are working with each other. I mean, it's a 4 seconds back to Cowie in third, and Kahlua going side by side with Cowie, and these two not able to get away from each other as well. So the battle. Oh, we got a yellow flag in sector 2. Looks like that is can't be touched. Oh, and Can't Be Touched swings the car around. He's got wing damage, and unfortunately, Can't Be Touched has been touched, and it looks like in a bad way.
You always love a good dad talk.
So show me on the car where you were touched by the bad man. Can't Be Touched.
Yeah,
he's going to have to pit for...
Stop.
Yeah, he's got end plate damage. That's definitely going to cost him.
Yeah.
And
the first pit stop. Mercedes.
That is Latesky heading into the pits. And he's going to swap over to, it looks like, another set of medium tires.
Two leaders switching again, or using slipstream, both running zero EOS all the time. Saving EOS, they have 70%, so they're not even pushing, and still they're pulling away from rest of the field. So
yeah, 4 seconds back to Thiemann. Looks like Kahlua has gotten by Cowie. So Cowie was running in third there for a little while. Looks like he's lost a couple spots. Carbon Khan is up to 6th, but he's got Clay Funk behind him, followed by Gad, followed by Epic the Animal, up into the points now. Started in the 18th spot, up into 9th.
He's pushing like an animal. That's how he gets his name. He's like he's opened this eye of the tiger in a Rocky Balboa moment, and he's hearing the music in his head, and he's like an animal right now.
So good on Epic. He did say he was going to have a comeback drive, and a comeback drive it has been so far. We'll see how well he can work his way into the field, starting from the 18th spot. That is a great run so far for him.
A great one.
Meanwhile, we've still got this battle back here. I mean, non-points battles, but still a battle. We've got Lattice closing in on Try and Catch. You had that spin early on in the race.
His star's already gone. He has to pit. Those softs are now way slower than mediums. Softs only first 3 laps. They're faster than mediums, but now he has to pit. He definitely has to pit. He can't stay on much longer.
And Kahlua is on the medium tires. He's closing up on Thiemann. And as you said, it looks like Cowie's he's down. It's 6 laps on the softs. It looks like he's fallen off the pace a little bit. Might have burnt those tires up, as it were. They only last about 7 to 9 laps around this track for the most part, don't they?
They do, and they do 7 to 8 laps, and then you have to take the hard set of tires. So then you're gonna take mediums and do 2-stop, but 2-stop is slower, so they have to do 1 more lap. Then they're gonna take hards, do 21 laps, and try to come back because of that. But it's never wise to start with softs, unless if there's safety car.
Really, the only place you're guaranteed a safety car in online racing would probably be Monaco. So,
Monaco, yeah. 80% chance.
So watching the battle for third, Thiemann trying to hold off a hard charging Kahlua. Meanwhile, it looks like we've got Epic is closing in on this battle as he's moved into 8th now. He's gotten around Gad.
Jesus.
So Epic now up into the 8th spot and closing in on Clayfunk. He's within DRS range of Clayfunk, and Clayfunk is within DRS range of CarbonCon, so lots of action going around. Only on lap 8 of 20. I've got a yellow flag sector 2 and 3, and that looks like that could be Benny.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like there's any damage on the car, so...
No, only spin. An interesting fact, your driver, Animal, is only 15 seconds behind the leaders, and he started from the last place, so that's very incredible. Only 15 seconds.
And Benny just picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cuts, so add insult to injury on that lap, unfortunately for him. And meanwhile, we're going to pick up Epic because Epic is now knocking on the rear door of Clayfunk. He's all over the gearbox of the Toro, also in front of him.
We might see a dive bomb to this next corner. Nope. But it's possible.
A little bit more of a reserve driver than that. He'll probably save it for the straightaways. It's a good drive coming out of that corner. But Clayfunk's going to have the DRS advantage as well. CarbonCon's really the one that is under pressure here because both the drivers behind him are going to have the DRS.
And really surprising that CarbonCon is not catching Cowhile for P5 position, even though Cowhile's tires are completely gone. And CarbonCon should be around 2 seconds quicker, but good for Cowhile for keeping those tires alive. Very good.
He's really stretching it now since it's lap 9. He's got...
Pitting. Now he's pitting. 20 laps with hards, possible. It's possible.
We'll hop on board with Epic as he's looking to make a move on Clayfunk down the front straightaway. Swings out of the slipstream, and he's got a head of steam coming down towards turn 1. And he is going to outbrake him, and Epic is going to move into the 6th spot. What an incredible drive by Epic the Animal today so far.
Yeah, it's like old Fernando Alonso days. Always starting outside the top 10 sometimes, and then after a few laps he's already in top 6. So it's like he has a rocket in his car or something like that, or P12 or something. That can only explain it.
So, and now Kahlua is also closed in on the backside of Thiemann. So Thiemann getting a good run coming out of that corner. He's got the DRS slot open, not going to be close enough to make a move. See if he can get close enough coming up the sweeping right-hander and onto the backstretch.
These medium drivers are going to drive for 5 more laps or 3 more laps, and then they're going to take the hard set of tires to the end.
And a 3-second time penalty for Clayfunk because he just picked that up. And Kahlua not close enough to make a move on Thiemann. Oh, Thiemann with a big moment. The back end slides out, and it looks like, nope, he tried it. Kahlua looked like he was going to dive into the pits, but decided to stay out. He's got a good run. He's going to take the outside line because Thiemann's going to try and take the defensive route. He's going to try and stick to the outside. It's going to set him up for the next corner, but no, Thiemann holds him off. Good defensive driving by Thiemann there.
Very good. And now it starts to be the time of the race where pit lanes are going to be open. So who's going to try overcut? Who's going to try undercut? Who's going to start the strategy games? Who's going to get inside each other's heads? This is the time where it actually starts. The undercut time.
And it looks like Salmon Pike has finally been able to get to grips with the car a little bit. He's moved up into the 13th spot, and he started to separate himself from Cowie. Cowie's out on a fresh set of soft tires, so he's going to be doing a 2-stop strategy for sure.
Yeah, 2-stop strategy. Not the fastest in this track, but of course, you never know, safety car might come. And then it's a new race, of course, but 2-stop is not the quickest amount this track.
And it should be said, I mean, if you look at timing and scoring, it looks like there's a battle going on for the lead, but there is not. Phantom and Justice has just been running all by their lonesome, really, in the first and second position, conserving their ERS, not really using the DRS, and not really making a move. I imagine as the laps wind down...
Did you see that? He tried to fake him into the pits.
He tried to bait him, but Justice didn't fall for it.
This is what I said about mental games. You have to get it inside of your, rival's head and start the mental games. That's part of league racing.
And it looks like Kahlua does finally make the move on Thiemann going into turn 1. Gets it done going around the outside. So Kahlua picks up the 3rd spot. But look at this, the DRS slot open for Thiemann. Thiemann trying to go around the outside. Defensive line taken by Kahlua.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, but look at battle for P5. Epic the Animal got passed off, trying to get passed off. Oh, he got passed off KAMIKAZE for P5 position.
So Epic the Animal moves up into 5th. What a drive by Epic. This has really been an epic drive, as it should be.
Yeah, I like your choice of words there. It's been an epic drive for me, man. If he finishes this way, it's going to be my drive of the day, definitely.
I mean, starting 18th in the field, the only driver starting behind him was Salmon Pike. Salmon Pike, unfortunately, still down in the 14th position.
Well, like we talked in the last race in IRL, some people have the killer instinct, the talent, and some people, well, basically do not have the talent, or the killer instinct, I mean, to make the risks, be determined. And that's what we've seen. It's been an epic drive from him.
And Epic, as we talked earlier, I mean, he's 3rd in the points in the HTA RL Assists League. He's been a very consistent driver. And
let me drop. Leaders opening.
It's the battle of the pit crews. Looks like Justice is already gone out of his pit box, and it looks like the Ferrari team's going to get him out in front of the Alfa Romeo. No, he didn't. It was very close, but Alfa Romeo team got Phantom out just in front of Justice. And those two are not going to be able to separate themselves. But under the pit sequence, Epic the Animal up into 2nd spot. 14.7 seconds behind Kahlua. And Phantom and Justice have both set their cars onto the hard tires.
This is very hard. I hope Killer and Animal are in the same party because they're in the same team, and if there's miscommunication, in worst case they could accidentally do double stack, which would cost Animal around 8 to 9 seconds in a pit lane.
And that would be a huge disappointment considering the drive that he's had. He's now gone from last to first, essentially, in this race. I mean, obviously he's not going to stay there, but how many more laps until the mediums start to fall off?
2 more laps. Lap 14, medium start to fall off. Then it's going to be like the ending part of the medium tires.
And we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. I'm not sure what car that is. That might be Try and Catch.
Latest.
Nope, it's Try and Catch is going off at turn 1, and he's going to crash into the wall and call it a day. So Try and Catch is going to subsequently retire from this race. And Epic is out. Actually, this is Kahlua. Kahlua is in. Epic is going to stay out. No, Epic's coming in as well, so it could be a possible double stack. Nope. Looks like Kahlua is already gone, just in time.
Yellow's in Sector 2.
And it looks like that is Clay.
They don't have the tires ready. Oh, they had. It costed him 1.5 seconds around. They didn't have the tires ready for Epic the Animal.
Oh, that's disappointing. Almost a double stack then. That did cost him. That was Latesky that was in Sector 2 that caused that yellow flag. Looks like he's done for the day as well. Try and Catch has officially left the session. So Epic falls all the way back to 11th as he comes out of the pits. He's on the hard tires. He's going to run them all the way to the end. So now he finds himself in need of another comeback drive because the pit crew did not have the tires ready.
That's problem in this game. They should be able to react, but in the pit lane resets when the car leaves, and it will take them 5 seconds to reset themselves again, coding in the game. So never do a double stack.
And for what it's worth, Kahlua came in leading the race. He came out 3rd, so he only lost the 2 spots to Phantom injustice, and those two are actually separated by 1.2 seconds now, so there might be a little bit of a race on for those guys because they were a lot closer to each other going into the pits, but the Alfa Romeo team getting the car out much quicker than the Ferrari team.
Yeah, and we were able to see that now the gap is what it is. A good pit stop might actually cost you the win or give you the win, so it's usually underrated, the work of the mechanics in this game, but they can be crucial also.
And as you can see, Phantom runs another fastest lap. I haven't seen somebody run this many consistent fastest laps since the days of Michael Schumacher.
Well, yeah, Schumacher, the good old days, 2004, 2003 with Rubens Bottas. I mean Rubens Barrichello as a teammate, so yeah, very good.
And Cowie running an interesting tire strategy. He's got 5 laps on those soft tires. He's running in the 5th spot. He's going to have to make another pit stop, and he's going to have to make another pit stop relatively soon. When he makes his second stop, does he still jump to the hards, or does he opt to the mediums?
Mediums, definitely mediums. Because we saw these drivers do 14, 13 laps with mediums. He's going to go soft, medium, and go to the end.
And Matty has made up a lot of positions. He had to pit early on. He's got some end plate damage on the left front part of his wing, but he's made up a lot of positions having to make that early pit stop due to damage. He's moved up to 6th. Obviously, he's going to have to make another pit stop. I don't think he's going to be able to run these tires all the way to the end.
It's not possible, but the interesting fact about hot tires can actually go to 88% in tire wear. So if he can avoid 88%, we might see him go to the end, but he will be around 3 to 4 seconds slower than the rest of the field. So vamos no, but we have seen some drivers trying the silly tactics, and he has nothing to lose.
So an 88%, and that's actually quite a worn tire to begin with. But versus the mediums and the softs, I mean, when do they essentially give up? Is there a big gap there?
Softs with softs 75% and mediums also 75 to 78%.
And it's when you get to those percentages, is that when you take a risk in the game of getting a puncture?
Yes, a lot. You have like more than 60% chance of getting a puncture. Then you have to move your brake distances a little bit higher so you don't brake so hard. You're gonna, use your gearbox a little bit slower, and you have to be a lot more smoother in the car.
And while we were watching that, Carbon Con has left the session, so his car has gone ghost. And Mountain Lion has joined. Don't know who that is and don't know why. He's late to the game. Looks like Carbon Con has rejoined, see if he can regain control of his car. And we're going to talk about that a little bit here, because obviously that was a big talking point from the International Racing League series that we just did. I don't know what the rules are here in IRS, but let's just touch on it real quick. And you, from a driver's perspective, you know this very well, that if you leave the session and you come back, there is a corner-cutting glitch, per se?
Yes, it is. Yes, there is. What it means that the game is not going to react if you corner cut or track extend in a track, which means you can gain around 2 to 4 tenths each lap. It's according in a game, and in most of the leagues like IRL, PSGL, they usually disqualify the drivers, and in my opinion, if you disconnect and rejoin back to the track, you should be disqualified because you're going to gain too much time and it's not fair for the other competitors.
So not sure what the rules are here in IRS, the International Racing Series. That being said, this is a preseason test, so it's a non-points race. So given the circumstances, if that was such a rule, I would still allow Carbon Con to come back and at least finish out the test, get a feel for the car, get a feel for the drivers that he's up against, because these guys might not be familiar with some of these other drivers. And you've done a lot of league racing. I mean, is there a benefit to a preseason test, trying to get a feel for some of the drivers that you're not familiar with?
Preseason test is probably the most important preparation that you can have for league racing. Like you said, these drivers do not know each other. They don't know how aggressive each other are. They don't know how to overtake each other, how each other is going to react, how others going to react when you overtake them, block them. So preseason test is very, very important to know your own level and your driver's level, and then you can do a little bit strategy thinking for the Grand Prix. So I think it's 95% of preseason and 5% rest of the practice.
And getting some word here from Latesky on the live chat, his wheel had shut off on him, and that is why he had crashed out in Sector 2 a number of laps ago. And it looks like Can't Be Touched is moving up on Clay Funk, trying to take that position. That is a battle for 9th. And he's able to get that easily. That is medium tires versus hard tires. And Carbon Con, his car looks like he might be having an internet issue, is probably why he lost connection. His car seems to be very glitchy, especially when it gets around another car, so possibly some desync going on there with some of the other cars on track. And it looks like Epic the Animal is going to pick up the 6th position, as Maddie just had to pit from the 6th spot, 16 laps on those hard tires.
Mediums.
Was it mediums? No, he's switching to mediums.
No, I mean, he's going to take the mediums. Yeah, he's switching. Yeah.
So Epic moves into 6th, but he is 15.3 seconds behind his next closest rival, which is Cowie, running in the 5th spot. But Cowie is going to have to pit again relatively soon. He's got 8 laps on those soft tires, so Epic will definitely pick up another position there. Pit stop delta here is around 20 seconds, 18, 20 seconds?
20 seconds, yeah, 20 seconds. It's 20 seconds around here. So he will drop around to P7 at this stage, P8.
So the cars separated a little bit. It looks like Justice hasn't been able to close the gap down to NSX Phantom. So Phantom, who's been running consistently fast laps and fastest laps of the race, he had a 1.2 gap. It's now at a 1.5 back to Justice. So Kahlua running comfortably in 3rd, and that is an ILRT driver. Go ahead.
Yeah, and as you said, P2, if you look at the ERS of the P2 driver, he has 8% of ERS, and the P1 driver, Alpha driver, has 52%, so that might explain why the gap has gone higher. The other one has been playing very smartly with ERS, and the other has been doing pedal to the metal whole race, and now, after half part of the Grand Prix, it's starting to, cost him.
And it looks like Timo just picked up a 3-second time penalty. And speaking of the ILRT drivers, I'm not sure what league that is or what that's an association with, but the ILRT drivers are running 3rd and 4th. That's Kahlua and Thiemann. And Epic does move into the 5th spot because it looks like he did take that was Cowie that did come in and take the medium tires, comes back out in 8th. So Carbon Con running in the 6th spot. Now Can't Be Touched is closing in on that, and Cowie is right behind him. So there's a 3-car battle starting to materialize for the 6th position. Meanwhile, we've got Gad trying to move in on Gaming to get himself into the points and get into the top 10. Oh my goodness, and he blows the corner, almost rear ends Gaming. So that just cost him a second, big time.
And I think Cowhigh, fresh mediums against 12 to 10 lap of mediums and hards. He will have a nice job overtaking these drivers.
And he is all over the back of Can't Be Touched, and Touched is trying to run him to the outside. Crossover move by Cowie. Trying to get the power back down. He's got a good run coming out of there. He's going to have the DRS advantage.
Actually, it's not wise to overtaking this corner because the other driver gets the DRS if you overtake before the detection line. So I would wait after this corner.
But he does not. And he's got the DRS slot open, and so does Can't Be Touched. He's going to try and move it on Carbon Con. He's got a good run headed down into turn 1. He's going to try and outbrake him. Carbon Con trying to hang tough on the outside. He's making it work so far. Cowie gets a good run coming out of there, and they touch!
Oh! Carbon Con
Carbon Con is way off course.
That was Carbon's fault, the Alpha driver's fault. He turned in, and that's why he lost now 5-6 positions.
So Can't Be Touched, able to get back out in front of Cowie because of that incident. We'll pick up Cowie's car. It doesn't look like he's got any wing damage, so the car still together.
Epic the Animal once again P5 where he was before the stop, so.
But now Cowie's going to have that DRS slot open. We'll hop on board with him as he goes to make the move on Can't Be Touched, heading down in the next corner. Big move. And really separates himself from Can't Be Touched coming out of that corner, so good on him. But Can't Be Touched would have the DRS slot open going down the backstretch, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have it open, but now if the gap is over 7 to 8 tenths, then He won't be able to make the overtake maneuver stick, but now it looks like he's going to be able to challenge for P5. I mean P6.
Oh, and Can't Be Touched is going to dive into the pits. So he's going to give up a couple of positions because of that, I think.
Yeah, he's probably going to take the soft tires to the end.
Clay Funk is going to go by. Gaming is going to go by. He's taking Gad with him. Carbon Con looks like he's got some wing damage. Yeah, actually, it doesn't look like he's got wing damage. Carbon Con's car looks like it came through that spin unscathed. Outbrakes himself, though, so he looks like he's going to give up a position here to Lattice. And this is the exact same thing happens again! Carbon Con has gone off. Oh, my goodness. Lattice is into the gravel. He's into the wall. 2 laps in a row.
He didn't learn. He turned in once again on the other driver, and that's why he spun again.
And Lattice has left the session. That is going to be a bona fide, good old-fashioned rage quit, and probably for good measure. I can understand the frustration. Carbon Con, unfortunately for him, his race has fallen apart, and Cowie just picked up a 3-second time penalty for cutting corners, so that could cost him, depending on how many time penalties he gets throughout the course of this race. So the car is getting pretty separated at this point. We'll give you a grid rundown. So Phantom is pretty much led from the start, running out in front to the tune of 2 seconds. Justice has been running in second for the majority of this race, but is now falling back 2.1 seconds behind Phantom. Kahlua has been quietly and methodically running his way in third, and he is followed by his teammate, IRL brethren, in the 4th spot. Epic the Animal has had the drive of the day, in my opinion, starting deep in the field in the 18th spot. Managed to work his way up to the lead of this race, fell back under the pit sequence, running in 5th right now, running all by his lonesome. Cowie is currently running in the 6th spot. His day's been a little bit up and down, running an alternate pit strategy, doing a 2-stopper, so good on him. Clay Funk is running in 7th. He is followed by Gaming, and Gaming is followed by Gad. That is really your closest battle on track, is between 7th, 8th, and 9th. Got a yellow flag in Sector 3, and it looks like that's probably, is that Carbon Con? Yeah.
Yeah, in the pits.
So he's gonna retire in the pits. And we'll pick up Timo, who's running in 10th. Maddie's in 11th. Can't Be Touched, who's had a bit of an up and down day. Started towards the front of this field, I believe in 4th. He fell back, and then he worked his way back forward. He's now fallen back again because of contact. Salmon Pike started deep in the field and wasn't able to set a qualifying time. He started 19th, dead last. He's worked his way into 13th, but hasn't been able to make much headway other than that. Flores is running in the 14th spot as he just went around the ghost car of Lattice. Lattice is no longer in the session. And Benny running in the 16th spot. We started with 19 cars. We now have 16 remaining. And we're going to go ahead and pick up Clay Funk because it looks like that's going to be the closest battle on track is between him and Gaming. That is the battle for 7th position.
But once again, Racing Point has 0% of IRS left. So, well, very hard to overtake with 0% of IRS.
And I am getting word here from one of the administrators, Latesky. It is up to us commentators who to choose for driver of the day. So that's kind of exciting. Don't often get that responsibility.
Yeah, it's honor, actually. It's great that our word also means something, so we can choose driver of the day. Very great thing. Thank you very much for the administrations. We appreciate this.
So, I mean, I'll save my definitive answer for the end of the race.
Same here. It's not all until the fat lady sings. Independence Day 1996, great movie. Go check it out. It's a great movie.
Gaming is closing up on this, and Kahlua just ran the fastest lap of this race, 1:29.8. So good on him. He's closing that gap down to Justice by a little bit, but he's still 4.5 seconds back. Meanwhile, we're watching this battle for the 7th position between Gaming and Clay Funk.
Well, they have equal amount of tires. The tires 10 lap and 9 lap old tires, and I think it's going to be position changing for the rest of the Grand Prix, but very exciting one. And if these guys start to fight, it's going to help Gat, Ropel, Tatan to catch up and join this barbecue party.
So Gaming is going to have the DRS advantage as they come down the front straightaway. I don't think he'll be close enough to make a move, but we'll find out here as they come down. And it looks like he does come with a head of steam. DRS slide over. He's going to duck to the inside at the 150-meter mark. He's going to have to slam on the binders. Gets to the inside, and he does push him wide. Great move by Gaming to take that 7th spot away from Clay Funk.
Very good maneuver. He a little bit tapped him like, you know, I'm here. I'm taking the maneuver. Very clean overtake and very clean dive bomb, if there is one, for P7.
And now Clay Funk has lost a little bit of ground here. A few car lengths separated between them now. We'll see if Clay Funk can stick with him. Gad trying to close in on that battle, but he's lost a little bit of ground. He's now 2 seconds back from them. We do have a battle for 10th, though, between Timo and Matty. It's materialized over the last number of laps. Matty's had a bit of an up and down day for sure, but he's got the fresher medium tires. He should be able to close that gap here in the closing laps.
It's very interesting. Like after.
Whoa! He outbrakes himself there. That's not a way to do it.
Never mind. I was about to say he has 3 to 4 laps advantage, and then Harts are going to be faster in lap 27. But he has 3 to 4 laps time to make the maneuver stick until Harts are going to be quicker than mediums.
Unfortunately, he blew the corner, almost rear-ended the Haas of Timo, and that allowed Can't Be Touched to catch up to this battle. And Can't Be Touched is on soft tires, pretty much going for broke at this point.
Same situation, 3 laps time for soft tires, 2 laps time for mediums, and then Harts are going to be fastest in 3 laps. So 3 lifelines left for each of these drivers.
But it should be said that the battle between Clay Funk and Gaming is not over, and Clay Funk just gave the chrome horn to Gaming. Unfortunately, fortunately, nothing happened there between the two drivers. But Clay Funk really came in with a head of steam and tried to outbrake the Racing Point of Gaming. He's going to do the same thing heading into this corner. So, luckily, no wing damage or gearbox damage done to the Racing Point or the Toro Rosso there. That's going to be so weird calling that an AlphaTauri next year.
AlphaTauri, that's a very... I don't like that name. Toro Rosso is much better in my opinion as Phantom.
I think it's one of those things that'll grow on me. I do appreciate what Red Bull has done with Toro Rosso and AlphaTauri as it is. And I did like the livery. The
livery was good. I liked it also.
It was pretty much a love-hate relationship with that livery. People didn't like it because it just didn't seem like it was a whole lot different. Yeah. But to me, it was like there wasn't another car that's,
more like attractive of what gets more personality. There was personality in the AlphaTauri car. I have to respect the livery. It's very good. I love that.
The only thing I would say is that it would have been cool if AlphaTauri would have used the Toro Rosso blue on this car.
Exactly. It would have been so sick.
Yeah, for the bull on the shark fin, it would have been cool. But I can get down with the matte color, and as you said, it's got personality. It's different than a lot of the other cars. The livery, I can respect the fact that the livery should look a certain way depending on what your sponsors are, but, Ferrari's been Ferrari forever. 78 years.
Mercedes been using the same.
Yeah, the Mercedes has just been the silver era since their inception back in 2010 or whatever it was. So it's they might add a little bit more splash of green because of Petronas, or they might add a little bit more black, but for the most part, they're the same. Yeah. Same thing with Red Bull.
There should be a rule that you should change the colors every year a little bit. And like you change from pink to blue pink. A little bit personality would be much more interesting because we see 5-6 years the same liveries for same cars, except AlphaTauri now.
Well, I think another thing that would be fun is if they would allow the teams to invert the colors on the team cars. So, like, the Toro Rosso would be blue and silver, and then the other car would be silver and blue. Same colors, but invert them.
Yeah, that would be awesome, actually. I think that would be funny, actually. Maybe 3-4 races when I get used to it, but hey, I'm down for that. Let's make it happen. Let's call Chevy Chase, or not Chevy Chase, but Chase Carey. But Chevy Chase, good actor. He's a good actor.
Yellow flag sector 2 looks like that Salmon Pike, and he's gone off, and he's up against the wall. So Salmon Pike's day has gone from bad to worse. Meanwhile, Matty has not given up on this battle for the 11th spot. He's trying to close up, coming down the front stretch. And it looks like Timo's going to take the more defensive line, try and cut him off, going to push him wide. But look at the run. Matty gets on the outside, sets himself up for the next corner, and a great move by Matty to pick up the 11th spot.
Very beautiful. They respected each other enough. They left each other enough room to go side by side. And I don't think you can even put a newspaper between that gap. That was a very beautiful sort of respect. Hard but fair fight.
And Kahlua runs another fastest lap.
The gap is 3.9 seconds. He's only catching 1 or 2 tenths each lap. So, and we have, you can say the name. I just can't say that name. Feeman? That's just what I call him, Feeman. I'm assuming it's a soft J. So, Feeman, he's pitting for a fresh set of softs. Feeman. Okay. Cheers.
So it looks like he's going to try and run the fastest lap of the race. I guess they would give the championship point to the fastest lap in the top 10, just like in real F1. Epic coming down the front straightaway. It's going to be able to close up that gap. I don't think he's got enough in those tires, especially with Thiemann switching over to the soft. So
it's not going to be enough. Like, I think he's going to pull away 3 seconds each lap. And gap in the top 3, they're surprisingly close to each other. Like, one lap it's for 4.2, the other lap it's 4.1, then it's 4.3. So I think the championship battle between these 3, if they're going to be in a championship fight, it's going to be awesome. Like, definitely in tracks like Austria, Singapore, it's going to be like magnificent. Action, baby.
The cars all very well separated at this point. It looks like they'll probably subsequently finish where they're running now, unless something happens between a driver, somebody makes a mistake. Phantom's been running out front since the lights went out. At this point, all by his lonesome. Justice with a great run in second. Looking at the strategy that him and Phantom were running earlier, in the first stint, they were basically nose to tail. They were conserving the ERS. They weren't really trying to pass each other or race each other. Looking at what happened under the pit sequence, do you think Justice should have tried and made a move, or do you think the strategy would have played out any differently?
I think it was very wise. There would have been a big risk that Justice would have lost his position now to Kahlua, because Kahlua is catching him lap by lap. So it was very smart for him to stay behind him. They didn't fight. He gets to keep P2, and maybe he knew that he is not as fast in this track as Phantom. So he's just taking his role, gonna take P2 and take that home. I know it's not the way to win races, but sometimes you have to be consistent and think 5 steps ahead of your opponent. And in some races, you know you're gonna be winning. Some races, alright, I'm gonna take P2 or P3. That's how champions are made.
No, that's a very good point. I mean, the great and controversial Alan Prost, known as the Professor, I mean, was very methodical. Knowing stuff like that, it's not always about the win. Sometimes it's just about getting points. And Alan Prost always had a very keen look at the big picture when it came to the championship. And that's a great point that you point out with some of these drivers. You know, it's not always about being the fastest. Sometimes it's just about getting points on the board when others can't. So it could be a very interesting championship season. So Phantom has now started the final lap of this race. Looks like he's going to walk away with this preseason win. And I think overall, it's been a pretty good preseason test. I mean, we missed most of the qualifying because of, unfortunately, the technical difficulties that we've had. But you get a good feel for a lot of these drivers. You know, I think some of the drivers have more in them than what was displayed. I'm pretty sure Simon Pike is faster than 16th. It looks like he struggled with the track today, and he struggled with the setup. Got a car off in Sector 2. Who is that? Looks like that might be Can't Be Touched again.
Can't Be Touched. Yeah.
And Can't Be Touched. No, that's who is that?
And like I said, I know most of the drivers in the game hate Bahrain. What I've learned from the drivers. I don't know why I love the track, but this doesn't show the whole picture, like you said. That's very well said.
Well, we do have a battle here on the last lap between Gad and Clay Funk, the battle for 8th. And Gad picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that might be inconsequential at this point. The battle for 8th might not even matter, depending on time penalties. Again, it's a preseason race, non-points event. We see Phantom and Justice have come across the line. First, second, third going to Kahlua. Good on him. Thieman's going to be coming across the line here in the next 30 seconds. He's very well behind. But a good run from him. He did come into the pits. He's going to try and run the fastest lap of the race. It would garner him an extra championship point.
But is he going to get the fastest lap? I think Phantom did fastest lap on lap 28 still. I have to quickly check. And I think Phantom got the fastest lap. Yes, with all hearts, Phantom has the fastest lap.
So Thiemann not able to capitalize on the soft tires. Epic the Animal is going to come across in 5th. Cowie follows him in 6th.
No, apologize, he got the fastest lap. 28 one, he got the fastest lap. I can go kill that.
Who's that?
Williams driver.
Thiemann. Thiemann did get the fastest lap of the race?
Thiemann, yeah.
And Gaming is going to come across in 7th. So Clay Funk and Gad drag race down the front stretch to see who's going to get across the line. And it looks like it's going to be Clay Funk is going to hold on to it. Gad's going to come across 9th. Campy Touch somehow manages to get 10th out of all of that.
Good race.
Matty falls into 11th. Timo is going to come across the line, followed, looks like, by his teammate in the other Haas. So he'll officially get 13th for the preseason test.
Oh. But like you said, very exciting race. We had side-by-side situations, DNFs, crashes. Very, very interesting race.
I think Bahrain overall, too, is a good preseason test track. There's, it's got enough straightaways, it's got enough sweeping corners, it's got enough hard braking points. It pretty much has everything that you would want to test on a car. I know a lot of guys like to do Spa. I mean, it's a fun track to drive, but really, unless you're testing a low drag setup for Spa or Monza, not really the best track to do a preseason test on. So I think Bahrain really had all the elements that these drivers needed in order to get ready for the coming season. So here's the unofficial results for today's preseason test. Phantom walking away with the win. Justice in 2nd. Kahlua is 3rd. Thiemann 4th. Epic the Animal 5th. Cowie is 6th. Gaming is 7th. Clay Funk is 8th. Gad 9th. Campy Touch 10th. Matty's 11th. Flores is 12th. Timo 13th. Benny Many More is 14th. Lattice 15th. And then Salmon Pike, Harbin Khan, Lateski try and catch all with the DNFs for today's preseason test. And it's been left up to us to do interviews and pick the driver of the day. So, well, my driver of the day is going to be Epic the Animal. I mean, it really started back in the field, worked his way up to the lead, and, granted, he only finished 5th, and I don't want to take anything away from Phantom or Justice. I mean, Phantom led from the get-go, but Epic the Animal really starting that deep in the field and coming back to lead the race for a little while, and then also finish in the top 5. He's going to get my vote for driver of the day.
I'm going to say that my driver of the day is going to be the driver who won the race, Phantom. Very dominated from start to finish, and my driver of the day.
So we do have Justice joining us in the chat. Justice, I hope your party settings are set to share so everybody can hear you on the live stream. I don't want to sound like I'm talking to myself. But congratulations on coming in 2nd. I want to talk to you about the first stint of that race because it looks like you and Phantom were kind of running just nose to tail. There wasn't really a battle per se for the lead. You just looked like you were kind of conserving your guys and pulling away from the rest of the pack. Was that the case? And you did answer what was going to be my second question, if you had any regrets about the pit sequence or even trying to battle him. But yeah, it looks like you lost a little bit coming out of the pits and you were never able to get it back. And we'll see if I did invite Phantom. We'll see if we can get him in here.
So thank you for the administration for providing it to this live stream.
But while we wait for the other two drivers to show up, I mean, Justice, I mean, it was a preseason test. You know, moving forward as the season gets ready to kick off, I mean, was it a good preseason test? I mean, did you get a feel for the drivers on track and who you would probably be competing with moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's 4 guys at the moment that look at the same pace or maybe quicker than me. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know, maybe there's some other guys that didn't race today that are also quick. But yeah, overall it was a fun race. So looking forward to the season start.
Absolutely, and you know, from a driver's perspective, I know I've had Eric with me in the booth all day, but I want to hear from somebody who's actually out on track today. I mean, there was a driver vote as to what the preseason track should be. Were you happy to have Bahrain as the preseason test, or would you have preferred a different track?
Yeah, I don't really mind this track. Of course, it's called a bad track. It actually suited me, but yeah, I still have some work to do to maybe get quicker here, so I didn't mind the pick.
That's funny because Eric brought up the same thing, that, you know, it gets a bad reputation for some reason, but it's actually not a bad track to race on. So, Eric, you got any questions for Justice from a driver-to-driver standpoint?
Well, Justice, I want to just know, in the early part of the Grand Prix, we saw you and the race leader, Phantom, not really fighting each other, so were you guys in the same party? Were you discussing each other, right? We're not going to fight each other, we're going to use each other's slipstream, so we...
No, we weren't in the party. It was entirely my choice to stay behind him, just to save the
pull away and pull away
from... maybe pull an undercut, but it didn't work out.
And to pull away from the rest of the field, of course.
Well, yeah, that worked out, at least.
Yeah.
So looking at that first stint, do you think you had the pace in the car in the first stint to actually overtake him and maybe pull away a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely thought that. But yeah, when we went on the hard side, just couldn't keep up with him. I think he got the DRS from the guys in front, so that helped him a bit. But yeah, he still was quicker.
Well, nonetheless, congratulations on your second place finish. I know it's a non-points race and it's only preseason, but it's still got to feel pretty good coming in second.
Yeah, it was good fun, absolutely.
So we've got Kalua with us, who finished third. So congratulations on that podium finish.
Thanks.
Hopefully your party settings are set to share as well, so we don't sound like we're talking to ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know. Great factory effort from Team Renault between you and Epic the Animal. Were you guys in the same party? Was there any team strategy there? You coming in third, him coming in fifth?
Nah, I was alone in the party. Yeah, but he was pretty quick, but yeah, my whole race was a little bit destroyed after the qualifying. Bottled it in Sector 2. Yeah. It was a pretty bad qualifying for me, and yeah, later in the race, the first few rounds, the soft drivers try to take every space that is opened, and yeah, Timon and me were a little bit fucked in the end, but we lost the IRS train to use Starter and Phantom, and yeah, I think P3 is everything that I've done. Maybe the first, I think that was the best position I could take today. Yeah.
And from a driver standpoint, I mean, was it a good preseason test for you? I mean, are you familiar with all the drivers on track, or there were some drivers you weren't familiar with that, you know, get a little bit more comfortable driving around at this point?
Yeah, for sure. The main point I was really hyped about Bahrain was because I'm driving next week in a League of Champions, and yeah, it was a good training for me. I know where I can change a little bit of my setup to be faster, because in the first few rounds I got not so much downforce than the other guys, but yeah, it was pretty fun, and I think it was a good test for today.
So it was double beneficiary for you today, since you're going to be racing not only in this league, but next week you're racing on the track again for another league. So you benefit twice as much than the other drivers moving forward.
Yeah.
And I've been instructed to try and get Epic the Animal in here for an interview. I'm not 100% sure I'm friends with him. But he was, it doesn't look like I'm friends with him, unfortunately. If anybody's friends with Epic and want to suggest him for the interview, because he's apparently getting our Driver of the Day award. Not to take anything away from you guys or Phantom, finishing in the top 3. Obviously, Phantom led from lights out, but a great drive today by Epic the Animal, starting 18th in the field and working his way all the way to the front. He even led the race, and unfortunately, I think Kahlua, when you pitted, I don't think because you guys weren't in a chat together, it doesn't look like the crew was ready for Epic when he came in the lap after. He had to wait a couple extra seconds for the tires to get set, so kind of cost him a spot or two, but come back from 18th to 5th is a great drive.
I think undercut would be better, so also my teammate could pit normally and didn't get held up, but yeah.
Well, we're going to try and get him in here for an interview. Eric, anything you want to add while we got these guys in here with us and we wait on Epic?
Question for you two both, for P2 and P3. We know that this is only preseason test and you might have another leagues, but we know that this race, only one race, doesn't determine who is really going to be in a championship fight and who is not going to be in a championship fight, but you're finishing in a podium, you might still think, do you think that, is this the top 3 who is going to fight for the championship for the whole rest of the season, or will there be any more surprises? What do you think? What can we learn from this preseason test we had here?
Yeah,
is the top
like
3 going to be what it is?
Like I said, we know the pace from the other guys. Was a little bit surprised about P2. I didn't know him, the Utaza. Was very fast. NSX Phantom, I know from other leagues or 5 round laps, and I know that he's fast and teammate is also fast, so I think about us 4 could be the championship decided, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Unless someone else who didn't participate today might join the top 4 of us, because those that went on the softs, I think, honestly I don't consider them a really threat for us. And then of course that Epic result just proved that softs in Bahrain don't work. The best strategy is mediums to hards or vice versa. So yeah.
Well, there we go. But it's only one way, it's Bahrain. So you still believe it's only top 4, even though some people might not like Bahrain, but you can determine other drivers' pace only after one preseason test. So you can already calculate that this level is going to be same for the rest of the season. That levels are not going to go high or low. It's going to stay the same. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's the end of F1 2019, I guess. We are racing some races here in this league, so I don't think everyone gonna try to get better. So, in my opinion, I'm gonna turn off some assists to this league. So, yeah, I think maybe I'm gonna be slower in some races. So, yeah.
And that's actually a really good point as F1 2019 essentially winds down, because the new game will be coming out. I mean, you do bring up a good point. A lot of drivers might not be taking it, say, as seriously since they know the new game's coming out. Or in your case, you might try and run with, out ABS or out traction control, turn the assists on or off, and, kind of more or less prepare yourself for the new 2020 game versus running for a championship on the F1 2019 game.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem would be the racing line. So I can drive without ABS, but in Bahrain it's really okay to drive with ABS, so I've turned it on today. But yeah, I think red line gonna be the biggest problem.
I don't think we're going to get Epic or Phantom in here for an interview, so I imagine, I guess we'll just wrap this up for the International Racing Series. So, again, congratulations to you guys on your podium finishes. Look forward to a great season moving forward. Everybody that's been watching, this is not going to be the official channel for the IRS. Once we get the YouTube channel situated and the logins correct, we'll have everything on that channel. But I appreciate everybody tuning in to my channel today for the preseason test for the International Racing Series. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you want, or you can wait until the actual IRS channel. And hopefully we'll have more information moving forward, an actual Twitter handle, actual YouTube channel. So, but in the meantime, I'm KAMIKAZE-FOX. This has been Eric Penton with me in the booth, and we look forward to seeing you guys at the opening round.